Hey everybody, it's Eric from EPAutos.com, your libertarian car guy, and I thought I'd do a little follow-up rant to go with my article about the non-consent of the government and the addendum to that I posted earlier this morning, which is on site, and you can check that out anytime you'd like. Anyway, a reader took issue with me a little bit about the, as he styled it, utopianism of libertarian thought, and that what the founders attempted to do when they wrote the Constitution in secret conclave, I might add, was probably as good as it gets, and that if I'm reading his objection correctly, I shouldn't complain about it too much, because we ended up with a relatively free country that was prosperous and all of these other things, and I don't dispute any of that. But I think the fallacy with his argument is that you can't pine for the better while criticizing the good, so to speak. I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense, but I am not an impractical person. I support the Orange Man, for example, even though I'm a principled and committed libertarian. And the reason I support the Orange Man is the same reason that I would support an effort to keep a foundering ship afloat for as long as possible in order to increase the number of people who might be saved, and to hopefully keep the thing above the water for long enough until a rescue boat arrives. It doesn't mean that I endorse the Orange Man in principle. It means I like some of the things that he's done, and that does not preclude me from criticizing the many bad things that he's done or the good things that he hasn't done. And the same with regard to the Constitution and libertarian thought. Yeah, of course, my life's work is dedicated toward the propagation of principled libertarian ideas, and I would love to see a libertarian society come into being at some point in the future. That doesn't mean that I would throw out the Constitution and the American Republic that it created as evil and pernicious and awful, because it was certainly better than a lot of the other alternatives that existed at the time and since. But being a principled libertarian doesn't mean I'm not allowed to criticize all of the many things that I think were illegitimate about the Constitution or wrong-headed about the Constitution, including, for example, the fact that nobody authorized the men who wrote the Constitution to do so, or they authorized themselves. They represented themselves, and then they got together in a back room where the people, as they styled it, were not permitted to enter and had no clue what was going on. And this relative handful of men took it upon themselves to write this document that erected the skeleton of what would become today's Leviathan Central State, and then foisted it off on the people. Now, granted, the people, the states ratified the Constitution, but that doesn't mean that the people ratified the Constitution. It means that some people ratified the Constitution, and the other people who didn't consent to it were forced to go along with it. So it's just, I'm trying to be editorially accurate as well as principled. And I think it's important that we do that. So when we hear language that sounds beautiful and romantic, like "we the people," actually it's some people. Some of the people got together and decided they were going to do this and that, and the rest of us had better do as we're told or else. And that's honest. It's brutal, but it's honest. So, that's the gist of my argument, or my counter argument, or whatever you want to call it, in response to the reader who posted taking me to task for taking issue with the Constitution. I think he and I are on the same page, but don't necessarily realize it. Hopefully this little short rant, which I'm going to include in the addendum article on the site, will help to clear up the air some. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of the stuff that's up on EPAutos.com, including my most recent rant about the joys of driving a slower car fast, along with the video that I included with that of the orange Barchetta. Should have the much-delayed review of the 2020 Subaru Impreza sedan up later today. I'm sorry I haven't gotten it done before. My shoulder's been killing me lately, and that's been preventing me from sleeping again, so I'm dragging. I'm doing the best I can. I thank you for your understanding and patience. We'll catch up with you again soon.